So the majority of people go through life and they have these aspects of themselves that are just completely unexamined. I mean, year after year after year, they find themselves in situations that are just a repeat of old relationships they've already had. They're staying in the same dead end job and they're not actually able to make progress the way that they want to. I mean, maybe they'll get a promotion to like a management position, but really they're just being promoted to like their level of incompetence where they can't even handle that position without feeling like completely stuck in it. And they're wondering why, like, why is my life the way it is? And frankly, they don't do anything to face the inner parts of themselves that are creating the circumstances that they're finding themselves in. So let's take, for example, a guy named Steve. We'll call him Steve. And Steve grew up really, really confrontational. And he was always confronting his family members, yelling and criticizing at his parents for, always like, oh, you're always telling me what to do, Mom. I hate you, Mom. You're the worst, Mom. Telling Dad, like, I don't want to do the chores. You do the chores. You never see you do the chores because you just go to work and you think that making money is all you need to do. And then the problem is that Steve ends up butting heads with everybody in his life. Nobody likes being around him. So he starts having girlfriends as he's growing up, and his girlfriends, at first, they kind of like the fact that Steve actually has an opinion, and he's kind of strong-headed because it's not something that a lot of young men really have. And so in these relationships, they start well, and it seems like it's only a matter of 3 to 6 months before these girls are freaking out, man, and they're just unhappy, and they're calling him narcissistic, and they're just like hating on him and telling other people, like destroying his reputation, that he's just an asshole and a total jerk. Okay, and Steve goes through his life and he's wondering, like, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? Why can't I get the job I want? Like, why do people hate me so much? And honestly, Steve's kind of a victim about it. And because he feels like a victim about it, it's so easy for him to just continue being confrontational. Because if he's a victim, everybody around him must be doing stuff wrong by oppressing him, right? It's a pretty common pattern that we see. You're probably familiar with it. So let's take that. There's Steve's situation, and now let's talk about somebody else, and we'll call him Adam. Seems like a good name. Adam had a really confrontational streak too, growing up. For him, he kind of suppressed his confrontational streak. He got in trouble enough times that he stopped doing it. Except that he still hated everybody in his brain, and he was always criticizing people, and it would end up just kind of finding its way into his relationships through the back door. Because he would end up criticizing people once he felt comfortable enough in the relationship that he believed he should be able to open up, right? Well, Steve doesn't like the fact that his relationships are getting destroyed, and actually that is more important to him than just maintaining his ego. Because he wants to work on his ability to maintain relationships and get promotions and enjoy the work that he does and find good jobs, Steve decides to take a look inside and see, okay, what is it that I'm avoiding? And, it's that sometimes I need to be confrontational, and that conflict only means that I might not want exactly the same thing you want, and so we need to work it out, right? So he takes a look at confrontation and says, all right, where can I put this in my life consciously? Where can I make the choice to be confrontational? And for him, that means he joins a debate team. It also means that some of the relationships that he feels like he's been walked on and codependent, he does stand up for himself. And maybe he loses a couple of those. And then others, he gains the respect of the people he confronts. So Steve has actually examined the aspect of himself that he was afraid of and that caused him problems early in life because maybe he wasn't aware of how to act properly in a confrontation. And now because he's examined it and learned how to act properly, he has far more success in his relationships. And he's able to use the confrontation to ask for a raise. And he gains a little bit of respect from his management. And they promote him. And maybe he even decides, you know what, I don't want to work at all. And for some people, that means that, especially for Adam, that means that Adam now decides that he wants to start a business. And he has to make a confrontation with his parents because they're frankly not very supportive of that. They feel like he should keep the job he has. He's already making money. It's really safe. He should just do that. Well, Adam just doesn't want to continue doing that, only that. He wants to start a business because he's really passionate about music. So the difference here is that one person never actually examined the issue with their life, and the other person, Adam, did examine the dark side of himself and made something out of it. There's a lesson, and the lesson is if there's something wrong and it's just not working and it's not working over and over and over, maybe ask some friends, hey, what do you see that's going on here? Because if you can't introspect very well, your friends can give you a pretty good perspective. Or if you're introspective enough to be aware of what the problem is, take a look at it and see whether there's an aspect of yourself that you can be more conscious of to actually utilize effectively, rather than just letting it run you.